And welcome back to Sullivan's Backstage Pass. I'm here with these wonderful gentlemen from the PDX Preachers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm geeking out because you all are fun. So, like, when you go to a show from you all, it's one of those things where you know that you're going to have fun, you're going to dance, they're upbeat, and I really appreciate what you have bring to the table. So how did the band PDX Preachers begin?
Well, we're the new kids in town, and New Kids on the Block was already taken.
Yeah.
So
that's all he's got. Don't ask me. I'm the last one in. Chuck got me involved in the band, so
by all means. So, how long have you all been playing?
What time is it?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
There we go. Look at that.
Have we been together a year or two already?
Couple.
I think
Yeah,
it's
we've been
couple in
together
May.
a couple of years, but
in May. Yeah.
If you added up how long we've all been playing, it comes out to be about 200 years.
That'd be about right.
Estimate.
that would be a fair estimate. But I came from a band called the Preachers Blues Band, and I was in that band for a long time. And as a result, I ended up owning the name, the rights, the website, et cetera, et cetera. And when we first started, we were calling ourselves different things. We called ourselves the BB's Blues at one point, Brian Batchley. And then I guess one night I got the light went off in my head, and I was thinking, PDX Preachers. And I ran it by those guys, and they're like, yeah, that's good. And so, Pacific Northwest, PDX, here we are. So we're PDX Preachers.
So and he owned the right to the name already too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how did they manage that? That's pretty cool.
It's always a big determining factor,
right?
Like, I guess the cool part is if we play a song that's not strictly a blues song, so it'll be, if you were the Preachers Blues Band, then people will be going, that's not a blues tune. But we'll go off the off a script every once in a while,
But it's just about playing what feels right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and I guess we'll start with Brian and kind of work our ways around. How did you get started in music in the first place? Well, how old were you when you got the music bug?
You're born with it. You're born with it. I mean, drummers I know, their mothers will tell you that this kid wouldn't stop banging on his high chair, And typically, kid that dances around the house and sings and wants to be, when you're in kindergarten and they hand out the instruments, you go run for the tom-tom and the triangle. Yeah, I got this, and that's how it is. It's in you. You're born with this. And I never call myself a musician because I never studied music. These guys have, but I went to art school and I studied art, and I was an artist as a child. I'm still a painter. But all I ever wanted to do was play. And so for me, it's, it's just something where if I don't make music and I don't play, I'm not alive. I don't feel like I'm, this is something inside is dead if I'm not, screaming at the top of my lungs and walking around, and making music. So where did it start? I'd say it's probably started in the womb. My mother was a piano player. My father, on the other hand, had zero. I mean, they bought him a snare drum once, and he couldn't figure out, which end of the stick hit the drums, But my mom was convinced that she was a great pianist until I had friends that were great pianists that saw my mother play, and they're like, your mother can't play. I was like, oh, I never knew that. She told me she was good, So that's my opinion of, it's just my opinion. But people tell me I'm a musician, and I'm always surprised, even though I've been doing this all my life. But
surprises the hell out of us too.
But I have written a lot of songs and played a lot of instruments.
And that's what you'll get if you see us come see the band live, because he'll start something like that and Chuck will give me that look and one of us will say something stupid and like, but the audience loves it. They become part of what we do, so.
Which
I'm
is
ahead
important.
of myself now.
No,
I'm
no,
ahead
you're
of the
good.
whole thing, but
No. There's no general rules here with conversation,
Yeah.
right? We can go on soapboxes, on tangents. That's no worries. This is just a fun conversation. So do you remember the first instrument you ever picked up?
It's either a guitar or harmonica. No, wait a minute. It was the piano. Duh. My mother had her prized possession, the baby grand piano, in the living room. And when I was a kid, I mean, I'd get on the bass end of that thing and hit the pedals and just boom, 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 make thunder. I mean, probably for hours. I mean, when I was a little kid, I didn't know, I was 5 years old, 4 years old, whatever. And I was, you hit that sustain pedal and just start banging on all those keys at once. And you get, it's a storm in the middle of the living room. And so, yeah, piano is I guess the first thing I played. I wanted guitar lessons, but my mom said no. She got them for my sister, and my sister played the guitar for like 5 minutes and then left the guitar laying around, and I played El Kabong sometimes. And
I love that.
Oh, man.
And how about yourself, Joey?
Okay, so kind of a little like Brian. I mean, my father was an upright bass player, and he was playing the bass in the house while I was still in the womb. So I came out liking walking bass. To be honest with you, I liked the like jump blues walking bass that you would hear, and I felt that immediately. But I didn't become a bass player ever. I did get a toy bass when I was a little kid, and there's some pictures of me at my cousin's wedding playing this, like standing next to my father playing this little tiny replica bass kind of thing, right? But no, I was in the third grade. They were offering music lessons, and my mother used to sit me down after school anytime Cubby O'Brien was on the Musketeers. He was the drummer on the Musketeers. She said, "Oh, Cubby O'Brien's on the Musketeers. Come here, you got to watch this." And I said, "Okay, I watch it, and it's pretty cool." And then she'd actually get me out of bed if Little Ricky played drums on the Lucy Show, So I think my mother kind of wanted me to be a drummer. My father would have preferred I took a melody instrument, but when they asked at school what I wanted, I said drums, and then had a couple of lessons, and after that, I pretty much self-taught. And I didn't pay attention to it until I saw Ringo playing on Ed Sullivan, which actually is the anniversary is tomorrow night.
Wow.
Or tomorrow. No, I'm sorry. It's Monday night.
Oh.
This is the 7th. They landed at JFK today in 1964. And 2 days later, I'm watching him have a blast on that big high riser. I thought that's the way it was going to be. And then these guys, or not these two, but, the music business is like, slap us down hard. No, you're in the back, and like the blues business, no, you're just a drummer.
Well, see, you got a lot of spinning to do. You got to make it in the congas, and you get over here and you play the drums.
But it was like he said, once they started hitting some, somebody said the greatest thing one time was at actually an Irish session, because I play a little baron as well. And it was at the session, and a fiddle player said, there was a guy in here last week, and he's criticizing everything we did. And so he this is back in Boston. We're from the East Coast, he and I, by the way, and we're back in Boston, and he's talking about he was in Berkeley School of Music, and he was telling these making commentary on everything they played. So finally, the girl, I don't want to say who she was in case she's ever watches this, but she says to him, "So, what's your major?" And he said, "Oh, percussion." And she said, "You mean to tell me you majored in hitting shit, and you've been telling us what to play?"
You can swear on this one. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
No. This is swear friendly. So
Oh, you can curse? I'm from
Oh, hell
Queens.
yeah.
What the fuck?
yeah. That's a fucking movement.
We just saw Timmer, and he was like so
Professional.
I tried. So
Yeah.
a little sideway into the Timmer interview, right? I try to get him to curse every now and then.
And he won't.
Oh no!
He's a pro.
Was he holding his teacup with his pinky up?
No, not at all. He's just such a sweet old.
Did you ask him what's in the bag on his leg? Every time I see Timmer, I'm like, "Hey, man, what do you got in the bag? Is that the
Good
nuclear
cigars.
codes or is it cigars, dude?"
It's cigars and his wallets, and so he doesn't have to carry it in his back pocket.
No, he's also got the nuclear codes in there, man.
I'm sure.
Yeah, helps with the phone too.
Yeah, you don't know. He could be CIA.
Well, when you're with the CIA, you never know.
Yeah, that's why-
The real guys, you can't tell.
Somewhere along the line, I ended up with playing with a bunch of blues bands back east, and then about 4 years ago, I moved here with my wife to be next to our daughter, and somehow Chuck and I were in another band, and Chuck left, and then somehow he got me involved in this, and I guess he'd be next up for his history anyway. So
Well, I'm the local guy. So John, the guitar player, he's from Chicago, and these guys are from back east, and I've been here in the trenches since way before, many years. I've seen the clubs come and go, all that kind of stuff. I actually started playing sixth grade tuba at Hosford Elementary on 28th and off a Division. And my music teacher was Mr. Piazza. And I took the tuba because all the musicians got beat up on the bus. You would come in there with your little case of your clarinet. You got picked on, bullied, whatever. Well, this tuba was so big that you couldn't carry it. It was built into a stand that was on the stage, and the stage there at this building was built in 1928. It has one of the most beautiful rooms you've ever seen. The audience chairs are like mahogany. I mean, and this is a public school, but still, it was back in the day when things were nice. So anyway, other than having to carry my instrument there, I got to come into school early and go into the auditorium all by myself and play the tuba. And I could hang out after school when I wanted and also practice and play. He was real easy about it, and that kind of got me started. And then came the 70s, which was just a fast car, fast girl, fueled haze of a time. I saw every band you can name pretty much. I guarantee I saw Led Zeppelin. I remember seeing Led Zeppelin up at the Kingdom, Rolling Stones, any band you can name. The Who, I don't know how many times, those kind.
Wait a minute, man. Did you see 13th Floor Elevator?
I did not see those guys.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you didn't see every band.
but I mean, we saw the big ones. I mean, I
wait a minute. 13th Floor Elevator wasn't big enough for you.
But anyway, the time rolled on, and one day I was sitting at home and I had Neil Young, "Hey Hey My My," Into the Black on, and I went. All of a sudden, this light just came on. I'm like, I'm going to go buy a guitar tomorrow. And I went and bought a guitar, and then I fell in with this really motley crew. I don't know how far you go back in Portland, but Rhonda Kennedy, she was a DJ at KBOO, and within the first year, we were playing the Rose Festival, the main stage on Rose Festival, and crazy things like that. I drove a '67 Firebird through the crowd at Rose Festival. We were late showing up to the gig. And she said, just go through the thing. And I ignored the security right down the main seawall there during the middle of Rose Festival with the carny rides, everything. We pulled up in front, parked right in front of the stage. Tony DiMiccola comes up there and he gets out of there and he goes, "Rhonda, you always made the most awesome entrances I've ever seen." And we went up there, we played the gig. And then as soon as we were done, we hopped back in the convertible and we drove right back out. So, I mean, I could tell you thousands of ones like that. I was in some pretty crazy bands. I was a drummer for a while, and I ran gigs here as a guitar player, but bass is where I live. It's for some reason it's just my instrument, and I'm even kind of more weird. I play 6-string fretless, so I've taken a lot of heat for that.
Not a blues bass, not a
I
blues.
know. I've heard that one. You get more gigs if you only had 4 strings. I've heard a lot. I've heard them all. So.
I had 4 strings once.
The 4-string guys baffle me. I have the utmost respect for those guys. It's like they get around on that thing and they only have this limited thing, and it's. I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. I'm always impressed, so I never say anything bad about those guys, I'm like, well, they get around that thing better than I can.
Well, you just said that they had a limited thing.
Well, yeah, it's a limited range.
Okay.
It's
you guys drag too much stuff around. Everything I need, I can carry in my pocket.
No, we've been adding guitar ones, and he's been playing guitar on Minnie the Moocher, so and
Oh, that's awesome. You do Minnie the Moocher.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
we do some songs that definitely get the crowd singing, and there's always a clown show going on behind Brian that he doesn't even realize.
Oh, thanks. I realize that.
John and I
I'm a straight man.
John and I have signals that we have developed over the last year, hand signals. It's almost like playing baseball.
Yeah, it's like he's a third base coach and he signals John how to fuck with Brian.
This stuff really started in our rehearsals, and at least for me. He brought me into the band, and I met Brian, and I was on my best behavior for maybe one rehearsal.
You always are.
And then after that, Brian and I, because Brian would say, "Did you know so and so back when from Providence?" And I say, "Well, he's from Brooklyn, New York, but
I'm from Queens.
but
actually,
he knew,
my parents are from Brooklyn.
Okay, but so he knew he knew a lot. For some reason, one guy in the original Preachers was from Providence. So I was born in Newport, but it's a small state. It's the smallest one. So everybody knew each other. So except they didn't know his old guitar player. But it's, do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? In rehearsal, we'd be talking about, oh yeah, well, so and so did this, and talking to each other, and suddenly we'd hear Magnolia being played behind us, and this was John and Chuck's way of saying, "You're gonna stink and bore us with these stories about people." No,
Yeah, and it's become a theme. I think it gets played at least once a show. At some point during a show, there's if you're gonna hear Magnolia.
Oh, it was cool one time though. We do this song Brian wrote, and it has a long story to it. And if he wants to tell it, I'll let him tell it. But when he's telling the story, then he starts on playing Amazing Grace on harmonica. And what happened was
You started it, Joey. Oh, yeah.
But he couldn't start it because he's telling the story and we felt it was going too long. So we're playing Magnolia behind him and he cracks up and he goes, I can't really start the song while you guys are doing that. But I can't explain it to you, but the way this stuff happens is sort of like, it's accidental. We don't plan this. It's not shtick or anything like that. It's just whatever happens at the moment. One of us is not, because, I'm told it's a back east thing, but Chuck sort of starts it, even if he doesn't say anything.
He's an instigator, I tell you.
He instigates a lot of this stuff, So I kind of look at Chuck and he's like, going, yep, okay. And then something stupid will come out of my mouth. It's funny, or John will do something, but it's.
Meanwhile, I'm telling the saddest story on the fucking planet.
He's talking about death and loss, and
they're like standing behind. They're like monkeys behind me, throwing things.
And he is a really good songwriter. A lot of our stuff is original songs. I mean, I think we're running probably 40, maybe almost 50% original.
Yeah, we could run 70, 80% if we wanted.
We could, yeah, easily.
We wrote a song last week that I don't know, how or when it's going to get out. But
We
it's
got to
gonna
do it. We got to
blow
record it.
everybody's mind. I mean, by the way, I listened to the recording of it.
Yeah.
It was really fucking good.
That's what I was going to say.
Now you're getting, this is Brian right here.
He came in with a, with a little guitar line that also was going to turn into the bass line, and I didn't hear it. He pulled it off of some obscure blues record or something, right?
I stole it off a B.B. King song that I heard on Sirius.
But I heard it as Santana's Gypsy Queen. Right?
Yeah.
So I start playing that groove, and the song works at that groove. So now Chuck and I have got like this thing in full flight, and we're kind of chomping at the bit now to find a place to record
blues
it.
Blues version of B.B. King does Gypsy Queen, but I actually stole it off a song that B.B. King stole off of Bob Dylan.
It's a beautiful cycle, then.
Right?
but it has an absolute life of its own at this point, and it's ours now.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's it's the actual first real PDX Preachers song. Because all the other originals that I brought, I mean, I wrote them, most of them I wrote back 10 years ago, whatever. I made an album in 2009 that did pretty well. And a lot of these songs are from, back then, but that band doesn't exist anymore. That band it went for 30 years. 2014 was my farewell tour. I did a year's worth of shows, and everybody said goodbye to me when I left Southern California. And that was the end of the Preachers Blues Band. And now it's like the Phoenix. It's risen, but it's a whole new animal. And this animal, to me, is just way better. And, when I start talking, they play Magnolias behind me. I'm talking about Lady Di dying in a car in the tunnel, and people, and they're behind me.
Let's pause there for a second. I want to pause there for a second and come back.
Okay.
Because I want to hear that story about how this song came to be in its sort of entirety. So I want to give you that opportunity to sort of say that, because I think it's going to be fascinating for listeners to hear. So take us through the original, because what song are you talking about in the first place?
It's called 9/11.
Okay.
Which is, everybody in the world knows what 9/11 was. It's when the planes hit the towers. But the Preachers, the old Preachers did, in the 30 years, we did so many shows that after about 15 years, we stopped rehearsing, and we didn't want to see each other unless there was a paycheck. We should have called it the Friends for Money, and the gear was in the trunk of my Cadillac. I drove a 62 Sedan DeVille, and everything that I needed, the whole PA, everything I needed for a show was locked in the trunk. It was a storage cabinet, and that trunk did not open without a paycheck. Well, one night we're on stage at a club in Ojai, California, and we're doing our show, and look up, the monitor's on, TV's on, and Lady Di is dying in the tunnel in France. And we're looking at this. I'm looking at this, and I broke into Amazing Grace. And out of Amazing Grace, I started playing Green Onions by, Booker T. And I started singing the song, which wasn't 9/11 yet. It didn't become 9/11 until after 9/11, but I started doing this song, and I went all the way through the thing, just boom, right off the cuff, and I finished it by playing Amazing Grace again. And with what was going on in the play, and this is a full house. I mean, we're talking a couple hundred people crying, and then I finish it, I open my eyes, and they're just standing there screaming. And I looked over at the boys, and I said, I think we've got something here. But anyway, so we started doing the song over and over, and I'd get calls to play at people's funerals and stuff, and I'd come in and play that and When the Saints Go Marching In at funerals. And then the planes hit the towers, and I said, wow, holy shit, this is something else. I think this is what this is. We should call it, we changed the name to 9/11. And I wrote more verses that one of the hooks in it is, has anybody seen my baby? I've got her picture right here. Because I was down at ground zero a year past the planes hitting the towers. And there were literally pictures all over the place of people looking for people that died in the towers, and people were actually walking around with pictures. And have you seen this person? Has anybody seen, so Dave actually wrote that line. Has anybody seen my baby? I've got a picture right here. The last time I saw her, she was standing right there. That's how the song 9/11 came about. It's about 9/11, but it's probably the most serious thing I've ever written and sung, and here I am getting ready. I'm speaking it. These guys are behind me playing Magnolias, and I'm thinking
we're like the Wile E. Coyote with the plunger. kind of like, okay, he said this like really, we're gonna blow it up now, but it's not done mean, and the audience, they're usually right with us when we're.
And I think it's a clever way to balance a heavy topic with some levity behind it so that people aren't activated by the topic. So I think it's a really good balance there. And so, Chuck, we'll start this one with you. So as you went through all of your music and you're sort of getting up there, so at what point did you start to realize that you were stage ready?
The stage, it came fast. Like I say, I kind of started up here, and then kind of from there, it was amazing. I had a group of people that were really good, some of the best old school people that were in Portland, and they were kind enough to put me under their wing and show me ropes. And I'm so old that my guitar teacher was Kent Henry, and the student before me was a young lady who I would listen to her, because you had to show up to your lesson a little early, and I started listening to her, and at first, quite frankly, she wasn't that great, right? And then within months, I saw this person just take off and go, whoa, and just get so good so fast. And her name is Sunny Hess. And that's when I started questioning my guitar choices. So I ended up playing drums for a while. I was a drummer and played in just this crazy Sky Blue Water party band we weren't about making money. We were about girls and fun and crazy. I mean, stories that I could go on for days and days. And that was good for a while. And then I got hooked up with Cher Wyndham Peineke. And that was a great ride. That was in the Salem area here. And that was Cher and the B-Siders. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but I can remember we used to play a jam here in Kaiser, and Ben Rice was in high school. He would come in, and
how small of a world is that?
He would come in and he would play, and then he had to leave because it was, 21 and over. But him and Ty and Gary Mazier was, he would play in the band sometimes. And it was almost kind of like the Salem Mafia. It was a real tight group. Everybody, and again, I mean, I was playing with these really good players, and got to play I played every single club you could probably name in this town. I probably played at least at some time in the past. But future things, we're playing the freaking Coliseum coming up.
Yeah, Thursday night we're playing at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
How cool is that?
So I've been telling everybody for a month now, I made it. I'm playing the Coliseum. It might be a small corner, but I'm still playing it.
It might not be a small corner. We don't know. We haven't seen where they're putting us yet.
But I go so far back, we used to have the Mayor's Ball and things like that there, which was the most dressy up, classy thing. It was when Bud Clark was mayor, and there would have, I don't know, 30, 40 bands in the Coliseum. And
do you know Magnolia?
Starts on F. Come on, give me an F. But yeah, so I've been knocking around a long time, and actually after this last thing, I ran a jam and did some other stuff. I thought I was kind of done, actually. I thought I was, getting up there in the years, done it, been there,
He's
and
also the youngest member of the band, by the way.
got roped into this, and it was immediately, I was having so much fun. I was just like, okay, I go, you know what? This band brought back the joy. It brought back the fun of playing. It brought back all the reasons why I started playing in the first place.
Wait a minute. Why do you chase me around the room with a machete?
I told him it wasn't actually the machete. It was it was my bass, and I told him that I would never hurt my bass like that.
I got a dent in my head from it.
So then the same question to you, Joey. At what point did you start to realize as a drummer, like, I'm ready to get on stage?
Well, I told you my father was a upright bass player. So, I mean, in high school, I had actually in junior high, I was in this band. I wasn't too good, but my father had arranged for us to do a gig somewhere where he played, and it was for kids, for like a pool party at this country club kind of thing. And the other guys in the band chickened out. So I realized I was more ready than they were. But I ended up in a couple other high school bands, and we had play, dances or this or that. But when I really started to know I was ready to do it, my father kind of started taking me around. He was an old jazz upright bass player, and he played in bands where they played like jazz standards and this and that. He did play with this piano player that kind of played like Les McCann, and it was like kind of soulful and stuff. And like I start to dig going in and sitting in with that guy, so we would go down to this place, and this is in Western Mass at the time. We go down to this place called the Green Gables, and which nobody heard of in the West Coast, but and I would sit in and play with those guys, and cool place about that. Cool. There were some cool stories about that club, but it was him taking me around, and like, I didn't really know, how to hold my own at that point. And I was like getting a crash course in it. My father was the kind of guy who would throw you off the deep end in the middle of the lake, and you're going to learn to swim. And it's like, okay, you got, they all knew I had enough kind of chops to play the gigs, but did I know how to make good choices or bad choices about what I was playing? Nope, not at that point, but I was learning fast, because like he said, you get somebody on your back about how to do it, and you get, nobody in this band is super good. I'm going to say get really great. I'm not great. Nobody in our band is like super player. He can say that, but he writes some cool stuff, but we're just average guys.
Hey, I've heard me play some stuff that
he's known as the Batch,
man.
When we get together as a band, the band is kind of greater than the whole. It's kind of the cool part of it. I mean, I'm not a bad player either. I'm a pretty good player, but I'm not going to like say I'm,
Oh, don't let you fool. I played with almost every drummer in town, and you know what? He makes my job so freaking easy.
Joey might be one of the best drummers I've ever seen, but he's also very humble.
I don't know. I can't. Everything I've ever done.
He's the guy that kind of keeps us on track. He'll say, he'll go, no, we're going in like this, or we're going to end it like that, or I mean, he kind of. I think the band without him would be kind of really loose.
Sometimes I pull out razor blades, but I never slit my wrists.
Right, and Brian,
I totally understand this.
What got me to really want to be in Brian's band was, I think it was second practice. He's trying to go through songs that I think I've heard before, and we're looking for directions, and he just looks at it and he says, "You guys know what to do. I don't pay you enough to do this." And it was like, oh. I mean, because a lot of times they want the rhythm section to just be so, I want this, I want note for note, I want this, I want that, and he actually just, I think Joey and I kind of power the thing, and then he surfs off the wave.
We're the Foo Fighters of the blues, man.
I can respect that.
It's I'm one of these. John's a little like this too. I'm one of these guys that wants to know how we're starting it and how we're ending it. Okay, and we'll all know what the structure is going to be because we've either learned it from him or it's a song that we're covering. And what happens in the middle is cool, but when I got in there, it was like we would even be playing live, and like we get to the ending, and we start looking at each other like, did we? No, we didn't practice an ending. We're not really sure how we're going to end this.
The
We'd get
LSD
by,
just kicked in, man.
I think that's where the 200 years of experience comes in, because however it's going to go, it's like it's figured out like that, and everybody through either eye contact or just know, oh, I've heard that ending a billion times, or I played that, it's like that quick, So we've had a couple of train wrecks, but nothing really, really severe train wreck.
Of course, there is the train wreck.
Well, we have a song called the Train Wreck Song.
It's actually, it's not called the Train Wreck. It's called Blackout Moan, but when I want them to play it, I just go, dude, let's play the Train Wreck, all right?
What it is the beginning, the opening of the song is just like it's
a drum and cymbal train.
It's like just like chaotic chord that John's playing, and it's like it came off of his his Preachers blues band stuff.
It's a funk tune that I wrote. I do things with harmonicas that nobody else does. Period.
But we can't say that in a certain audience.
The blues audience?
If there are any kids around,
Oh, that show.
This show's always 18 plus.
I told you guys not to bring up Love My Monkey.
Why does my harmonica smell like that? Anyway, no, I do things with harmonicas that are really out of the ordinary. There's harmonicas, and I hate to say this, harmonica community, and I know you hate me and going to hate me more now, but the harmonica community has turned into what I like to refer to as the bicycle community. Remember when you were a kid, you got your Stingray?
Yeah.
You didn't need, you wore whatever clothes you were in. You didn't need a helmet. You didn't need any funny little bike shorts. You got on your Stingray. You rode 10 miles to your friend's house. You hung out. You played. You rode 10 miles back, uphill, downhill, whatever. You didn't even have gears. And that was a bicycle.
Where's John?
And we lived on our bicycles. All right. Nowadays, you have a bicycle. It's like you have your off-road bike, you have your road bike, you have your $10,000 bike with your $15,000 gears. You have to have the special shoes. You have to have the little pants. Well, harmonicas have turned into this. Now it's like all these people that spent their lives as accountants or whatever behind desks, and now they got the hat, they got the two-tone shoes, they got the neck chains, they got the bowling shirt. They're bluesmen. And they've got the harmonicas. Harmonica, when I first started, I paid about $12 a piece for them. I had a endorsement deal I was getting for $10, $12. Now you get these harmonicas, the same fucking harmonicas, not even made as well as they were made 40 years ago. They cost $60 or $70. Then you got to send them to a guy named, I won't name his name, but he's in Chicago, and he takes your $10, $60 harmonica, customizes it for you for $300, sends it back so you can play it through your $10,000 microphone, through your $10,000 little custom amp that's this big, and now they have like harmonica schools where everybody learns to play the exact same thing, pats each other on the back. I've never been able to figure out how to do that. So I started putting a harmonica in my mouth and doing what I do with the thing. And for the first 10 years, people were staring at me going, when are you going to learn how to play, man? And then after about 10 years in, these same cats are like, dude, can you teach me how to do what you're doing? And I'd be like, I could try, but I can't even teach my dog how to sit. So I do things with harmonicas that are kind of out of the ordinary, like playing funk tunes and this Santana thing that we just came up with. I mean, I was listening to the things I'm playing it, and I'm thinking, whoa, yeah, James Cotton and Santana just wandered through my brain. At the same time, did I really just play that? Because I'm never sure what I'm doing anyway. I never studied music. These guys, music schools, teachers and drum lessons and band and all this other stuff.
I didn't take that many lessons. I really didn't. I had, in school, they gave a few lessons, but After that, no, I would have liked to have studied, I think. I don't know. I'm
I,
more self-taught, really. But
I think it doesn't matter. You know, like if you're able to play and you're able to be on stage making music, how you got there doesn't really matter. You still did the work. Like you didn't just pick up drums yesterday and now you're playing. No, there's years of work that gets you to the level of profession that you are today. And I think really the only way to gain that experience is doing the work.
right.
Yeah,
And
there's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
the thought that enters my mind about what Brian was just saying was like, you know, until they bought all that expensive equipment, I was feeling like we shouldn't pay the harmonica player what we're making because we put in like thousands of dollars into it. I did with a $10 item and walk up to the and it was John asking 57 and it's all set.
There's $60 now.
And here he's talking that, and I'm thinking in my head, well, you know, Jocko only needed 4 strings.
And he pulled the frets out himself with a pair of needle nose pliers.
I did that on my first one too.
There you go.
So in terms of like actually playing in the venues, right? If you were to say, one thing I love to ask musicians is if there was one thing that you could see in every venue that you go to that would make your performance better, what would that be?
Myself, I would like to see, you know, a little bit of a return to what it was back in the 90s and the 80s when the venue maybe had a little more invested into it as far as promotion wise, a built-in crowd. Back in the heydays, you went to certain places, you just knew it didn't matter who was going to be there because you knew it was going to be awesome, and you paid your cover charge, and the band got paid, and the houses were standing room only. And now, and I understand, you know, the social media and everything like that, but instantly, a lot of times it's how many followers do you have? How many people can you put in the room? And I've always found the places, and there still are places here that have that built-in crowd, you know, you know, the cheers, you know, where everybody knows your name, that kind of thing. I would love to see a little bit more of that. I realize that, you know, as we're aging out, that, the crowds get thinner, grayer, you know, those kind of things. But, I really think, we could use a little bit more help on
They
promotion.
die.
Well, venues too. The venues, you know, I mean, it's all cyclicals. The bands, you know, they rise to the top and then they fall. The venues, they rise to the top and then they're around for years and then they fall. You have to understand those cycles and get used to them, you know, because those can be hard on you.
How about yourselves?
You want to go or you want me to go?
Oh, you go. Cause
Oh, you know what I look for? I
Yeah.
look for a live wire. I don't care if the room's full or not, because like a lot of times when we're trying to get more people that even know who we are. So there's one room we play and sometimes we'll go in there and there'll be 10 people in there at the beginning. End of the night, there's more people, you know, and it always turns out to be a good night. But I'll look for somebody, if there is somebody in that room that I can direct my jibes at Brian to them sitting there like one-on-one and like, they get it and the people next to them get it. So that's what I'm not even looking for, you know, anything particularly having to do with the drums sound good in here. A lot of places it's a barn. A lot of times the sound is really good. I'm not like looking for that. I remember the days when I know exactly when you said cheers, I know the exact place. Instead of being an old baseball player, the guy was actually an ex-hockey player in American Hockey League who was behind the bar. It was the same built-in thing, and I was a steady gig there, like 4 nights a week, like all the time. So, like, yeah, that'd be nice to go back to, and a built-in crowd, you know,
Yeah.
and they promoted it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be nice to go back to that. You know, that's never going to happen again.
No,
But like,
those
I
are
look for the live wire, and I
good
hope
old
that
days.
live wire tells her friends or his friends or whatever. And if they get into it, sometimes they'd be Brian's friends. And like some guy walked in one night and Brian said something about the guy just had me on the floor, and I ran with that for like, or he knocked me down or something. What did he say that night?
Oh,
It was some guy that you do karate with or something.
yeah, I'm a martial artist. and my friends from the dojo like to show up. So
You can run with that for for a while.
That's good for at least 2 sets.
And we're not a comedy team, but we're like it's short in between songs.
Yeah, he asked me about one of my friends that showed up, and I was, he threw me on the floor last night, and he was trying to break my neck. But other than that, I love him.
I might have told everybody to give him a hand or something. I don't know, but it was, I don't even remember what it was, but yeah, I'm looking for the person that's going to respond to what's going on. And I'm watching to see if they're responding to what Brian's doing, which he's watching as well,
And how about you, Brian?
That's a big question, man. I'd like to have a green room with just blue M&Ms and the dish. It's been a while, It's like
Evian.
Oh God!
Sparkling Evian.
For me, the hard part is I'm doing all the booking, and I really don't know anybody in this town yet. I moved here after my town burned down. I was living in Paradise, California. We had sold everything and moved to Paradise, and 3 years later, one morning, the fire came, and I had 12 minutes to get out, and every last thing I owned got vaporized. Everything. And, and I got here, and then the next thing, COVID hit. So it's like now I'm in a strange place where I don't recognize anybody or anything, and I'm locked in my house. Me and the dog and my wife, So for me, it's really hard for me to wrap my head around it because I'm trying to, figure out where can we actually play. And I'd like all I really want is some indoor venues. We, during the spring and summer and the fall, we were outside a lot. We got to do some blues festivals, a couple blues festivals, and a
I
couple of.
love the outdoor ones. It's just
Not in the
something-
rain.
Well, no.
Yeah, right.
But we did do the farmers market, the Mount Hood one, and there was it's one of those like surreal moments that you only get them like every once in a great while. But we started playing, and the sun was coming up over the trees because the stage was like directly facing east, and I'm looking out there, and I'm breathing the air, and I'm playing this music, and I'm literally just going, I'm so glad to be alive. I'm here. It's now. And just the whole picture of the whole thing was just like, oh, so great. We've had a couple of those. We played an art gallery thing, which is, a little art collective down under one of the bridges here. And those are the gigs I always remember. Those are they're the one-off kind of little bit strange, but and we had to kind of play a little bit low,
A lot
and,
low, really.
and
Ridiculous. I mean, we had to put handcuffs on him and tie brushes to his hands.
They didn't. Remember those jazz standards I was telling you about?
Yeah.
That's why I just had to go back there and play the gig, And I don't mind playing like that, but I don't like, doing a song we call a train wreck. I wouldn't want to try doing that with the brushes, and it's not going to work. It's not going to be funky. It's not going to be. It's just there are some things you just can't do. So
Yeah, you can't sacrifice a certain level of sound
and
in certain songs and not lose the overall vibe.
right, the feel wouldn't have been there, and we could have gone through the motions, but no, but the whole gig was like it was really cool. It was very
and the
cool.
way I feel about it is, the songs aren't going to be exactly like maybe if we were playing outdoors or if we were playing in a large bar or something like that. But our songs are never the same anyway. They're a little bit different every time they're played. So I think a lot of times the energy we're receiving will determine what's going on, where we're at that particular moment. And just because we were playing at a lower volume doesn't mean the emotion and the energy and stuff wasn't there. It was still there. We were in a room with that was a big warehouse. How many artists were in there? Probably several hundreds.
Yeah.
A lot of artists.
Just the energy from the artists and all the art, the creativity and everything that was going on in the building was enough to kind of stand the hair up on the back of my neck. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's funny how we do those things. This Coliseum one coming up, everybody come out to the Coliseum. We're going to be having some fun. You're going to want to be there for the intermission. I
There's
swear.
going to be a hockey game.
Joey.
I love hockey.
And so, question though, in terms of like the performance, how important is it for the audience to be a part of the show?
For me, it's tantamount. It's very important. My experience, my favorite gigs that I've done over the years, I played in a lot of small clubs that had no stage, and the band was set up on the floor. And when that thing gets packed and everybody's in there and we're all sweating and dancing on top of each other, I love that. I mean, when I'm on a stage, 4 feet above the crowd and I'm doing my thing and they're happy and I'm looking down on them, it's not the same as when we're butt up against each other. Just, you can feel it. I mean, the power and that energy to me but that's me. I mean, I don't know about,
With
not
this band, it's the sing-alongs. We do a couple of sing-alongs, and every single time it happens, the crowd starts singing along with, and then it's like all of a sudden this exchange starts to happen, and everybody's involved because they're part of the show too. And even the band, after one of those sing-alongs, the band even plays better. So.
Well, howdy, 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 howdy. Hody, 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 ho. I love my monkey.
Yeah, my
You've never heard us, have you?
And Joey doesn't.
No, I heard that. So I heard that particular song.
Oh, love my monkey.
Yeah, and it's fun when you see the audience bark those cadences.
Did you? Oh, so you saw it on a video somewhere?
Video,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
on your website.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we have a good video on our website, do we? Do we really?
You should go look at the website, man.
I
There's
never.
videos.
I can't. You know what? My problem is
6 videos.
My problem is I'm
awesome
never,
for the homework, Sean. Awesome.
I'm never.
Love you.
I'm never happy with what I do. So when I look at when I hear
Joey.
it, I'm like, oh, we could have done that better. No, it doesn't matter. Every CD I've ever been on, I was like, I like went. Well, it's on one in a band for 20 years before I came here. And some of those guys had played with this band called Roomful of Blues, which was like a national act. And I turned around the bass player and I said, Kenny, I'd like to have every one of those songs back and redo it. And he goes, when I was on the Grammy nominated one, I wanted all my parts back too, but it was Grammy nominated. So shut up. You did okay. But I don't think so. So it's sort of like kind of like that. My playing, I'm really like, no, I could do it better. No, I could do better. In the studio, I always want one more take. And these guys, like at rehearsals, when I'm like, let's rehearse that part of the song one more time. And they're like, look at them. They're like it ain't going to get no better because William,
I make you guys go over and over again on a lot of stuff. And you look at me like, really? We have to do it again? No, not you.
I know.
Chuck,
it's Chuck and John.
It's all John because he's not here to defend himself. Chuck does it,
yeah, it's all John. And
it's all John.
And what happened? The way it is, it's like you're in the studio and you're going through the song over and over and over. Well, it's one of those things, and I know that these guys went through it too. You on about the 20th time, all of a sudden they go, well, the first one was the best one we did. So I always, after about the 5th, 6th, 7th time, somewhere in there, I go, I myself, what I like to do is I'm like, okay, let's put it aside, let's play something else, and then we'll come back to that.
I like that myself. We did that the other night.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you play?
I sing, but I have.
Oh, really? You're a singer? Sing something.
All right, on this
in a long time.
Under the bus with Sean.
I was somewhere one time and I met this guy. He was like, might have been out on the street or in a shopping mall or something. This really cool looking black dude who really good looking guy. And we started talking to each other, and I said, yeah, I'm a singer. He said, so am I. He said, well, sing something. I said, what do you mean we'll sing something? I said, well, you sing something. And he just started belting stuff out, and the guy was like over the top. And I was like, oh, wow, I guess I'm supposed to do that if people ask me if I'm a singer. But this guy was like, yeah, if you're a singer, you're supposed to be able to just sing something. And it was like, I think he sang Summertime right there in the middle of wherever we were. And I was like,
Pick something. Yeah, that's what
holy
easy.
moly.
Yeah, right.
See, for me, I belt it out.
Me too.
And like I've got like like I sing the songs like from Stained, or like I'll do War Pigs from Ozzy.
Oh, cool.
Like, things that are sort of like that, but in a room like this, just
So
yeah.
You can't get the oomph up to do it, right?
So
Right? No, I can't.
So Sean, you know, we're a blues band.
Yeah,
So if you come out to see us play, sing, you know, get up and sing something, man. It's
you
cool.
got it.
You can sit in.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I've had that. I first saw it in a movie. I don't remember which movie it was, but I've been saying this to people ever since. It's like people show up and they go, "Can my friend sit in with the band?" And I look at them and I go, "Yeah, we're a blues band. Anybody can sit in with us. If you suck, we'll drown you out."
I love it.
And it's led to some real disasters, but it's also led to some stuff that wasn't a disaster. But the biggest disaster, may he rest in peace, was Gary Ridgeraft from REO Speedwagon. His friend came in with him and said, "Hey, it's Gary from REO Speedwagon. Can he sit in with you guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we're a blues band. If he sucks, we'll drown him out." And he goes out to his car, and I didn't know that he was drunk out of his mind.
Oh no.
And we're in a small club, and he puts a Marshall combo on stage with us, turns it on to 15, because, you know, Marshalls go up to 15 or 20. He plugs in an out of tune Les Paul and just starts going crazy on the thing. And it's the most horrible, discordant, disgusting thing and the club owner runs over to me and he's going to kill me. And it's like, I don't know what to do. So I just walked behind the amp and unplugged it. And we kept playing and he kept playing. And when it was over, it was like, "Oh, thanks everybody. It was Gary." I was like, get him out of here now.
That's wild.
But another time it happened. And this really pretty woman said to me, we're doing this club up in Ojai, California, because I played there a lot. I was a regular in Ojai. This really pretty woman says to me, "My friend thinks you guys are really, really cool. Can she sing a song with you?" I said, "Sure. We're a blues band. Anybody can sing with us. If she sucks, we'll drown her out." And she says, "Oh no, she's really good." And this girl gets up on stage with me, and I said, "Everybody put your hands together. This nice young lady wants to sing with the Preachers," and blah, blah, blah. I hand her a microphone. She goes, "Hi, I'm Taylor." And I looked at her, "Wait, you're Taylor Dane from Long Island?" She said, "Yeah." Holy moly. That was the night it worked out really well. But then her and Uma Thurman walked away with the entire crowd, and they all left, and she said, "We sung Stormy Monday," and then 5 minutes later we're all alone. And they took the entire crowd of about 300 people downstairs to the other bar at the place, and they were dirty dancing to the jukebox on the pool table, and we're playing by ourselves. That was the night I found out what Over the Top meant. But yeah, you come sing with us.
So the last time I sang was actually with Brandon Logan, and I sang War Pigs, which is one of my favorite go-tos.
We could do War Pigs.
And I'll never forget it, because I was ready, I was geared up, and then I remember looking to my right, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm on the stage with fucking Brandon Logan," and I forgot 3 of the lyrics. And I was like,
that's when you just make some up, man.
"Oh, I should have done that." Yeah. Uh-huh. But it's one of those things where, like, I like to warm up before I belt stuff out.
We usually all do, but you don't always get that opportunity.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So we've been at this for about an hour.
Oh, is it time to eat?
Something like that.
Got any chicken?
More like there's a couple of questions I want to just dying to ask. One, what is it that you love about the blues? Because the blues is one of those hidden gems of music that is not as popular as other genres right now. And so I know that you're playing the blues because you love the blues. So what is it about the blues that you love?
That is a hard question. I got into the blues by accident. Um, but okay, when you listen to Coco Taylor, and she's singing Wang Dang Doodle, for instance, or you listen to Howlin' Wolf singing Evil, or Muddy doing Anything, or Stevie Ray just ripping it or Jimi Hendrix playing Red House, any of it, okay? There's a place that just grabs you inside your guts and your heart, and your brain checks out, and you feel something that doesn't really have an explanation for it, but you feel it, whether you like it or not. If you feel you feel it. Now, and I mean, every time I was in a room with B.B. King, I felt it. All right. I mean, it's like you can't not feel it. If you don't feel it, you just ain't got it. And so, why do I love the blues? I love the blues because it makes me cry. How about you?
Well, me, it's well, I get into it because I was tired of being in cover rock bands that were kind of not going anywhere, you know. And at the time, I was making my living playing music, so I had this. There was a girl in a band with me, and no, actually, I introduced her to it, but I had this friend that said to me, you know, you won't know the guy, but it's George C. Gregory's back in town. He was playing with James Cotton for a while. He was his sax player, and he had his own band. They went out to see him, and the energy in his band was unbelievable, like ultimate boogie stuff, you know. And it's like as a rock and roll drummer, you want, you know, and yes, I played the jazz things with my father and stuff, so I knew how to play blues shuffles and stuff and have the right feel for it, you know. But I went to see this band, and they were like just energy from the time they hit the stage until whenever, and you could feel it, and the room went with it, you know. And it's sort of like so then I had to go see James Cotton. So that hooked me right there. And I guess what I'm working around is that you know,
Excuse me.
the guys that invented the music, the you know, people who worked on, you know, on the farm, you know, picking cotton and driving a tractor and whatever, you
The
know,
holler people,
they
hollerers.
yeah, they when they went to a juke joint to, you know, from everything I read, it wasn't to be sad. It was like to not be sad. It was like blues. They may be singing about some sad shit because it's what they knew, but they're basically saying, you know, flip flop and fly. I don't care if I die. The night is like super happening. It's like I just want to be right here, right now, because this feels good. I don't care what. Yeah, you know, I don't care what, because tomorrow's going to be terrible. I'm going to be working on that picking cotton for the man again or whatever, you know, trying to eke out a living. But tonight, you know, it's right here, right now, what we're doing. So come down on Thursday night. It'll be right here, right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what it is. And then I had a little bit of a rude awakening in that not everybody was playing, you know, like high energy boogie blues stuff. And like I found me having a, you know, kind of being restraints occasionally in certain guys that I was playing with for what they wanted, you know, but the feel's always there. If that feel's there, like he said, it's not a describable feeling, and it's not somewhere where you want to be anywhere else. You just want to be there doing that, you know, and
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're open, the blues is just going to move you no matter what.
Well, you know, for me, myself, I think more than the blues, because I started out more rock and roll, doing, probably about the same place where you came from, like it sounds like. But it was the people that I got to play with. All of a sudden, if the rock players, there's that guitar player, I'm better than that guy, that kind of stuff, but the blues players always were about, trying to get you better or make you better. And I think I got so lucky here getting to play with just about every big name I've probably been on stage with them at one time or another. And it was the sense of community. It was the just everybody trying to help each other up. And if you were here in the late 80s, early 90s, in Portland, quite frankly, if you didn't play the blues, you didn't play. Portland was a mecca, and I mean a mecca of the blues. And the big touring acts would come through here, and, you know, the Portland Blues, the festival was just getting rolling and all those kind of things. I remember, I think I played the first and third one. The third one was rain. I remember the whole infield was like this muddy. And I remember looking out, seeing like 5 people going, "Oh, this thing's done. This thing will never fly," you know, 40 years or whatever, whether they're 40 years plus now, biggest festival west of Mississippi. I've never been able to make good decisions that way. So,
So in other words, Chuck, you're from the
don't ask me to manage the band.
you're from the Columbia River Delta.
Well, you know, Portland really was. There was a time there and you're talking you had the hottest players. You had Macy's, and you had Robbie Laws, and you had Gary Maziers, and I could go on for
You
an
forgot
hour.
Paul DeLay, man.
And Sonny.
Well, that's
Sonny
the only one on the
Sonny
East
Hess,
Coast
you
was
know.
Paul DeLay.
I mean,
And
He had
Curtis
somehow made it
Salgado,
up there,
of
and
course.
Robert Cray.
No, I'm just talking guitar players alone. Big
guitar
Monty,
players, yeah, okay.
I could go on for an hour. I mean, the quality of the music was the level. You had to be good to play here. You couldn't just be fresh out of the garage and expect you were going to go get something at one of these places, because there was a time there in that early 90s when the bar was set very, very high. And I think the drunk driving laws, the non-smoking laws, all of a sudden things just changed. The lack of cover charges, everything just kind of, and Portland is still a blues town, but I really wish people could have experienced Portland blues around 1992 or 93.
You know, oddly enough, that was the same thing for me back in New England. It was like, no, really, it's exactly what you're describing. Is like you had to be good, or else you weren't going to be able to play. Especially if you're in the rhythm section, and weren't doing what they wanted, and you weren't going to be there long. But it was the same thing. It was the same level of player. Although anybody I would name, nobody on this coast would know. You know, so it's not. You know, I did play with Jim Belushi once. I actually did.
Well, that's pretty good.
I had a gig, and I played with he was it was in Boston, and his show was syndicated, according to Jim, ended up getting picked up by the CW, and they were headquartered in Boston, and he needed a band to play behind him. His own band, the Sacred Hearts, was playing the following night, but I guess it was budgetary or something, and so I was in that band with a lot of the roomful players. It was a good band, and he showed up with another harp player, James Montgomery, and that's probably my only big claim to fame. But the rest of it's nobody would know, you know, in this area. So I can't like mention the names. I've learned these names, Misi and Lloyd Jones. Lloyd Jones, funny.
Lloyd.
I covered his song for years in a band, but it was Gatemouth Brown's version of it. Okay, called "Toughen Up." And I walked up to somebody around here and I said, "Where did you get that arrangement of Toughen Up?" Because like I was doing it for years and I never played that arrangement in my life. And the guy looked at me and goes, "I learned it from the guy that wrote it." And I said, it was Chad Rupp that said this to me. Okay. I said, "Really?" He said, "You say it's a Portland guy who played with like Paul DeLay and, you know, no, not Paul DeLay. He played with
Curtis.
they had a band called something Brown something
Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar or something like that. And
Yeah, that
Nisi was in it, and like
all the big dogs.
and Jim Solberg was the bass player. I saw a video of this, and they were like playing that kind of blues that I want to play. Lloyd Jones was doing that back then. Okay,
And they were doing it before it was popular.
right. Well, I don't know, in the 90s it was popular where we were, but no, actually in the 70s it was kind of popular.
See, my dream is to play with the Beastie Boys. Okay.
He kind of gets a form of that every time we go on stage. So
yeah.
now that he said that, we're gonna start playing a Beastie Boys song.
You got to fight for your right to party.
got to fight for your right to play with Brian Batchley.
I've heard a lot of strange things. That's all. That's all I got. Nothing. They're mostly in my head. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last question I'll ask, and then we'll sort of put a ribbon on this, and is because I still hear to this day people in the audience who are apprehensive of going up to musicians and telling them that they enjoyed the show. Can you please let your audience know that it's okay to come up and let you know that they loved your music?
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. What I generally tell them at the end of the show is if there's any part of this band that you're not completely satisfied with, you can send it back for a full refund. You have to mail the band to Battle Creek, Michigan, because that's where all refunds come from.
I love it.
With 2 box tops. Yeah, people do tell us they like us a lot. And last night, it's pretty funny. Last night, I accidentally, out of the clear blue, ended up playing a show with TJ, the kid, and TJ Wong, amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, TJ's cool, man. He's a trip. And Al Polito at the Covert Cafe. And we took a break, and this woman started telling me how much she loved what I was doing, and I was dumbstruck. I was like, wow, I think I love you. Can I write you a check? And she was like, no, you guys are really good. And your songs are so, they're so real. And I was like, nothing makes us feel better than that. Chuck, the Walport Blues Festival.
Oh yeah. I received more compliments. I mean, people coming behind the tent. Oh, I really like your bass playing. I'm like, well, it was the band as a whole. No, the way you slide around on that, when you get those compliments, it really makes you stick. And I think to this day, one of the best compliment I ever received, we were opening up for the Kingsmen. And we played our thing, and it was a standing room only show. And I mean, it was really, really packed hard. And one of the Kingsmen came, he beelined, he like parted the crowd, and he came up to me and he's shaking my hands and you're just so, and to this day, I'm even talking about it, I'm starting to turn red, I feel like. But when you get that from an audience member, or somebody comes up and tells you how much they enjoyed it, and especially if they were listening, because a lot of times, they're going to hear Brian all night long, but they don't know what Joey and I are doing back here. I mean,
yeah, well, I got nothing. I've got nothing without them behind me, by the way.
And when those people come up and tell you how much they appreciate it and how great of a job you did, those are priceless. That's, I don't know if these guys agree, but that's better than money in the tip jar.
I think that bass players tend to be overlooked more than anybody. Drummers in a blues band, most of the time you'll be overlooked, but you'll be appreciated by the front line. Okay. But in this band, Brian and the guys have allowed me to do a over the top drum solo.
Totally over the top. And sometimes he brings a pogo stick.
Oh no, that's an Irish instrument.
That's not,
I don't know what it is.
It's not Irish. It's a stump fiddle, but it's a hillbilly. But I leave the drums and I go out into the audience and I actually get them involved. So I get them screaming "Hey" and
place
whatever.
The tables, the wine glasses.
So I don't. Yeah, I with this band, I don't remember, unless there's just nobody there, I don't remember ever having a gig where they weren't somebody wasn't complimenting the band. So it's hard for us to prod somebody to do it, because I haven't experienced that really, not in a while.
But something I do need to add: you could be Jimi Hendrix. If your rhythm section, bass and drums, suck, so do you. I don't care how good you can masturbate a guitar, play a harmonica, piano, or anything else. If your rhythm section's bad, you're bad. And these guys are good.
Oh, and John, John too. He's very just as much
Who's this John? It was you speak.
just as much of the rhythm section as the rest of us. He phenomenal guitar player, but same thing. He came from Chicago. He was the cook at Trails End for 10 years, whatever. So he loved the blues.
Yeah.
And he is just as much of the glue in this rhythm section as I am, because I know Joey and myself and John, we literally play off of each other.
Yep.
And we keep eye contact, and and the song might rhythmically be different this time, but it's still going to be good.
They're essentially a disaster management agency.
John's playing. This is kind of important too. John's not. He can play with the best of them, but he's not interested in shredding or showing you all of his licks or any of that. What he is when Brian's out there playing harp and and fronting the band, John's as much a part of the rhythm section as the two of us, and it's glued together three people. Sometimes he may be playing guitar fills in between phrases, but a lot of times it's his rhythms and stuff too. And it like we leave, there's a space there. So I hate the word "you guys were in the pocket." I hate that. And I'll tell you why. Because a pocket is the spot where the front man sits in between where we play. Like he may be on the top edge and I might be on the back edge of the beat. Okay. And John might be coming at you from an angle, but there's a little spot right there where that guy can sit. And if we got the feel and the audience going and he's able to ride in that slot all the way down to the end, and not that. And I always look for see if my pocket's been picked, because if we get excited and it goes up a little bit, if we go a little faster, I don't like anything faster than we started. But I'm human, it happens once in a while. But
he's Guitar George from the Sultans of Swing.
The one thing I want to say about John, and he touched on it just a little bit, is he is so good that at least once a practice or once a gig, he will play something, and it's like I'm over here, and all of a sudden, snap the head. Where did that come from? And when a guitar player can do that, when you've been playing with him for like over a year or several years or whatever, and they still are doing that to you, that's pretty good.
And it's not something the audience would necessarily notice. Okay, it's something we notice.
Yeah, because I view a musical act on stage by any other definition as a miracle. Because you have 5 people on different wavelengths with different instruments, with different goals, different agendas, all on the same page. And for start to finish in a song, your wavelengths are one.
It's magic, man.
It's magic.
Yep.
And that's what I love about music. And I wish we could sit here and talk for another hour. But
And this band has a chemistry to it. I don't think you could replace one of the players and still have the same thing going. It's a weird, strange chemistry thing that you have in bands, and it very, very rarely happens. I mean, so very rare. And nobody here is trying to get up on the other, and nobody is going, "Oh, you did that wrong." And I mean, it's amazing that we just have a chemistry, that we enjoy each other, and we play. I don't like, it was like Joey said at the beginning of the thing. I think we could have had a 5-minute and thing. It's like, well, no, we're not the best players, but you know what? We're a good, really good band.
And I will say this, folks, if you haven't had a chance to check these guys out, you need to check them out. I guarantee you 2 things. 1, you will have fun, and 2, you will experience some pretty great music. And I'll end the podcast the way I always end the podcast. Folks, be kind. We all live on the same planet. We breathe the same air, and this planet would just be a better place if we treated everybody with dignity and respect.
Peace and love. Ringo Starr.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Amen.
gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.